Cannes Yachting Festival 2024. Now, last year I did a walkthrough video with the famous Nick Burnham of the AQUAHOLIC YouTube channel, and it was a huge success. So I thought I've got to do that again this year, and here is the man himself.
David, how are you?
Always good to see you, Nick.
Thank you.
Although it's not the first time we've seen each other. We had dinner with Naughty Styles, Dan's Boat Life, the Yacht Boy, the other fellow, the Yacht Boy. What was that, 2 nights ago?
Yeah, it was. It's very good.
It was
nice
great.
pizza.
Now, Nick, this year I wanted to show you the new Numarine 30.
Excellent.
Because I know that you watch every video I ever produce on all 3 of my channels.
At least twice.
So you can get tips.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping to be as successful as you one day.
Yeah, that would be nice. Don't put me in difficulty like that. So you may know that on the Yacht Builders channel, I started to follow the construction of the new Numarine 30, which is a composite build, but it's not an evolution of other yachts that they built. It's really a revolution. And I was on board this morning. It's got so much wow factor, it's coming out of its ears, so I want to show it to you.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing that, because I haven't seen it at all.
Well, here it is.
Way!
After you.
Excellent.
What do you think of this for a beach club?
This is huge, isn't it? And very, very open. I mean, really properly open.
That's exactly what I said, because usually they'll have big supports in the corners.
Yeah, or you're actually buried back into the yacht with just the opening section at the back. So you're almost like in, I mean, it's fine, but you're in a sort of little cave looking out. Whereas this, you are just completely at water level and completely outside it, apart from obviously the shade above you.
And actually the ones that have those that are set back, where you're also a little bit down, at this size range yacht, this is 30 meters.
Yes.
So by eliminating the side support pillars, which obviously it's still very sturdy, it changes everything. It's so open. And I think they're going to sell a lot of these because of, in part because of this.
But I'm curious, so when this comes up, you've still got the gap at the top?
It looks like it, doesn't it? I believe you do.
Yeah, wow, fair enough.
That's a very good point. It looks like you do.
And then the same here, this one comes up here to here.
So this will be what they call a wet area, won't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that lifts up. So in theory, you could actually sit here under navigation, and this will be a wet area of the yacht, which doesn't affect at all the seakeeping adversely. No. And then you've got your watertight door there.
Yeah.
Talking of which, this is a diesel electric yacht.
Okay.
So I've just got to show you the non-existent engine room, because there's no engines on this yacht.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Follow me and I'll show you. After you. So is this not the smallest engine room you've ever seen?
So basically, you've got diesel generators, as in they're powered by diesel or generating diesel, and they're powering the electric motors that sail the boat.
Yeah, you've got 4 generators, and so that powers the electric motors, the power of the propulsion, which gives you silence, lack of vibration, and a great range as well. But what surprised me is that you have the option to have standard inline shaft propulsion.
Right.
And I said to them, well, surely you must change the footprint of the engine room though.
Yeah.
But they said, no, they can fit the engines in here. And I think that probably goes quite far back.
Right.
And this, obviously, you take out. And I take their word for it, but they can easily fit the 2 engines in here with inline shafts.
They must put it on V drives then, surely.
I guess they probably do.
Yeah. It's so far back. It wouldn't work otherwise, would it?
No, I think you're right. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, you're right. Do you do any sports, any exercise?
What I do, and I started doing it a couple of years ago, where I live is really, really hilly, properly hilly.
Yeah.
And so I basically hill walk 2.5 miles every morning.
Really?
Yeah, and it's made such a difference. I lost a stone in just over a year.
I think since last year we should do a last year and this year
before, after,
in the editing.
Yeah, and it does. It makes a massive difference.
Yeah,
it really, really does. Doing something regular like that, and it's proper, pounding up the hill stuff. It's not just strolling along on the flat, but really helped. Yeah.
I decided I'm going to order one of those gadgets that you can take with you in the hotel and put in your suitcase attached to a wall, and
Right.
it's like a complete gym workout, because I'm just away all the time. I don't have time to do the gym or anything.
Yeah, no, that's true. I can see that.
Now, wow factor number 2. I just want to know what you think of this.
That is quite the space, isn't it? This is interesting, the way it goes up here and back over the area we were just on. That's a great area, isn't it? It's like a little stage.
So I think this has got 2 advantages. One, it's like a whole new area of the yacht to hang out and chat,
Yeah.
and if you want to take a bit of sun. But the other thing is, with the dining table there, if you're in the marina and you want to eat, nobody can see you from the dock.
Absolutely.
So you're not in a goldfish bowl.
And even here, you're raised up.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, actually. What an intriguing area. But I'm curious about these. They look like massive dog baskets. Should we try one out?
Yeah, so why don't will we both fit in?
It'd be cosy, couldn't it? That's actually quite nice if you're in it,
lovely,
isn't it?
That's an Instagrammable photograph. If ever I've seen one, we should actually. I've left my phone on the side. Oh, hang on, Slava's
Here we go.
multitasking.
Do you know what that is? You can have that as an Instagram photo.
Yes.
I will have it as a caption competition.
Yeah, caption this.
Yeah, exactly. See what people come up with.
Easy to get into, not so, but actually that's super comfortable, isn't it? And you're right, it's like a dog basket. Isn't it? It's a dog basket for
But in a
humans.
good way.
Yes. I do, but we're filming at the moment, so that was so funny. What just happened was that the shipyard representative called me over and said, "These people would like to meet you as a couple of potential clients." And I said, "Oh, he said they watch all of your videos." And I said, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you." And they went, "No, not you, him."
For a brief moment, my world turned upside down as I thought you'd been recognised and I hadn't. And I was just about to jump off the back. Luckily, everything came right again.
Yeah, but very nice people, very lovely people.
Lovely people. And interestingly, from the sound of it, serious buyers.
I think so, yeah.
Seen your channel, they'd seen your Numarine stuff,
Yeah.
and a little bit of my channel, apparently.
I think it was mostly your channel they've seen. It's crushed my confidence now.
But the point is, we've got proper buyers watching this stuff, and a lot of people don't think that that's the case, but it absolutely is.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely is. And I think more and more people are realising that now.
Yeah, which is great news. It's great news.
Good
So
for us. Good for the shipyards as well, hopefully.
Yep, I hope so.
Yeah.
Good.
Excellent.
So let's move on after I've been crushed by that. What do you think of that?
It's very open again because you've got the side doors on this side. It's quite minimalist, I think, is the kindest way to describe it. And obviously, as is always the way, people can choose whatever they want and they can have it as complicated as they want. But whoever spec this has gone for a very low-key approach, I think is...
Yeah, I like it very much. I like the way that the doors, concertina, are open completely.
Yeah, that is good.
Just so that you know, the owner of this is the owner of the shipyard.
Oh, okay.
So every hull number 1,
Yeah,
he takes for himself.
that's a nice idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it means that he can check it out. I mean, this is a new diesel propulsion system that they have. He can make sure that's working properly. He can see any little tweaks. I think it's obviously for him as well. It's nice, isn't it, to be able to cruise with his family on board, and it shows his confidence in the product.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is really his taste in interior design.
Interesting story. Sam Newington was the guy who set up Fairline.
Yes.
And I remember talking to the guys at the factory, and he had a house in the south of France, waterside house, and he would do a similar thing. He'd take the first of a new model, he'd take it down there. And the guys used to say, we're talking right back in the sort of 90s.
Yeah.
And the guys would say, we'd know that someone was going on holiday, we'd have about a day apiece, and then the next day the facts would start to churn.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we need to change this, we need to do that, we need to, and it was that kind of hands-on feel.
Yeah.
And the really interesting thing was that they used to do a 24-foot Carrera and a 26-foot Sun Fury. And the reason that the Fairline Targa 33 is the first of the ever Fairline Targa came to an existence was because Sam and Brian Newington wanted one for their house. They said, we need a 33-foot sports boat. We've got to have a Fairline. We'll create a Targa 33. And that's how the whole Fairline line started, was them building a boat for themselves, effectively. And doesn't that make sense, though? Because if you think about it, if you're a genuine passionate boater and you create what works perfectly for you, it's going to work perfectly for other people as well.
Most likely. Yeah, most likely. And actually, I really like the fact as well that the owner is a boater, because
Completely.
some of the yacht builders now are becoming so big, and big corporations take over, and they put in their own line of CEOs, CFOs, who I think have a passion for yachts, but have maybe never owned a yacht.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe don't even have a passion for it. You know, some of them are business people,
Yeah.
and very good business people,
Yeah.
but they're accountants.
Yeah.
You know, and if you look at, I can only speak for the British brands that I know, but Fairline, as I say, Sam Newington, Princess, that was David King. You had
Sunseeker with Braithwaite.
Robert Braithwaite, Tom Morant, Sea Lion, and these are all boating people
Yeah.
starting boating brands and running the boats themselves.
Yeah.
And that as a foundation is fantastic.
Yeah, I think
But
you're
of course,
absolutely.
you know, we've moved on, you know, a couple of generations since. None of those guys are in charge anymore. A few of those guys are no longer even with us.
No, that's right.
But it's interesting, I think, you know, those core big brands,
Yeah.
that originality and the way they started, I think, is important.
Yeah, and I think as well, they weren't so motivated by profit. They were more motivated by just producing something really good.
Absolutely, yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
I used to, as you know, my start in yachting was with Norberto Ferretti at the Ferretti Yachts Yard, and the workers would say sometimes they'd come in the morning and he'd be sleeping on one of the benches because he'd just been working so late at night,
Really?
actually making sure everything was right.
Yeah.
And that kind of passion, you know, is what starts these great brands, isn't it?
Totally.
Let's see if we can move forward. Oh yeah, the balcony there,
Yeah.
but have a look at this, because if you follow that side deck, you come to some steps up to the next deck.
Yep.
But look what they've done here. Look at this.
Oh, this is nice.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we should take a moment here.
Oh, yes.
What do you think about the trend to having balconies, opening balconies on yachts?
It's not something that I've got personal experience of.
You don't have it on, what's the name of your boat again?
On Smuggler's Blues, no. No,
No?
not, no.
No
sadly
balcony?
not, no, strangely enough. I can absolutely see the idea of it. I mean, if you imagine if that wasn't there, you just had a bulkhead there, it would be nothing like this experience. I have heard of people having them off of the owner's cabin forward,
Yeah.
and then not specing them next time because they don't like the crew having to keep on coming in and putting it
Yeah.
out, putting everything out, and putting it
Yeah.
away after that. So they would rather have perhaps a big picture window or something like that.
Yeah.
So I like all these things. There are pros and cons, but I think without doubt the ability to create an area like this is lovely.
Yeah.
No question about it.
And if you got friends on board, or a lot of people do a lot of business on their yachts, and you just want a private conversation,
Yeah. Yeah.
you just say, come through here, let's just sit out on the balcony and have a chat. And,
Absolutely.
And, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
next thing you know, you've done the deal.
I think that areas on boats, I really like that. And I bought a new to me house 3 years ago. which
I
I've
remember.
been
You
doing ever
yachtified
since.
it.
Yeah, I've yachtified it. But the thing I liked about it was you've got different zones. You've got the garden, and you've got a patio, and then there's a balcony further up, and then
Yeah.
there's a lounge, and then there's a TV room, and you've got different places to be with different people. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's often lacking in boats. You just end up with a great big saloon and a great big cockpit and a great big flybridge, and that's your lot.
Yeah.
You know, and everything else then is cabins, so everything else is sleeping areas.
Yeah.
So I think areas like this, small areas where you can tuck yourself away, perhaps with a good book, for example, are wonderful.
I completely identify with that. I have a small apartment in Monaco, and it's got a terrace on it. And for the first year or two, the terrace just had a bit of gym equipment on. And then about 6 months ago, I bought a sofa much like this.
Yeah.
And I thought, I wonder if I'll ever use it. And then when I did, I was like, this is really cool. It's like a whole new area of the apartment.
Exactly.
And I sit, I have a beer, I read a book,
Yeah.
fall asleep usually as well.
No, it's nice. It's nice. You can't have too many zones, and I think big boats like this often. So this is actually off of the owner's cabin. I hadn't quite realised that we'd come into this area.
And
In fact, this has got both. I was saying that some people are preferring to have the picture window to the balconies. Well, this has got both.
yeah.
Best of both worlds, then, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, I just thought this was so much wow factor. I actually said wow when I first saw this.
This is amazing. And actually, you don't feel like you've lost any space to that.
That's right.
That's the crucial thing.
That's
You
right.
don't think like, you know, well, if we didn't have that, we could have had whatever. You just have a little more.
Well, I suppose they could have had a walk-in closet there, but they've got one on the other side. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how big the bathroom is, maybe because I didn't look on my first look around, but no, there's no sacrifice here either. It's a good-sized shower.
Yeah.
Are you a shower or a bathtub man, Nick?
Do you know, one of the things that the house had to have was a proper nice bathroom, because I do love a good bath.
Yeah.
Since I've been there, I think I've had 2. So I would say very much a shower man, partly because it's on a different level to my bedroom.
Right.
So that might be why you have to go downstairs for it. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, no compromise there, like that.
I'm seeing more of these as well, these works of art that are actually a television set.
Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? Rather than just a blank screen.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So we've just done a jump cut there, to use the technical term, because there's a lot of activity going on the stairs, and not everybody wants to be on camera in these videos. So this is one of the 4 staterooms on board. If you're doing an AQUAHOLIC tour, what would you be showing here?
Oh, we'd almost certainly be looking in the wardrobes.
I need to do that then. Do you want to see this, Slava? Am I allowed to?
Please. Yeah, it'd be an honour.
The honour is mine.
Oh.
Oh, so that's a little storage space with some drawers here, or drawers, shelves here. And I'm betting that gives you access to, I don't want to pull it off, that's going to be access to something technical, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
After you, Nick.
Oh, you're very polite. You know, we're both British, so in theory we could get ourselves logged down there just going after you.
After you. No, really, age before beauty, yeah, but you're older than I am.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm more beautiful.
We could be there for an hour.
So it's pointless showing you all 4 of the cabins because they mirror
Absolutely.
of each other.
No, that would be a ridiculous video, wouldn't it? Can you imagine people actually doing that?
Do you know what I've started doing? It's funny, I when I was first working at boat shows actually not even as a broker, but as a shipyard representative, I noticed that the best salespeople just shut up and let the owners look around for themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas I, as a novice, and a lot of my colleagues, we'd say, oh, and this is Egyptian cotton, and this is a 32-inch television. And,
Yeah.
but then you realise nobody cares, and they can see for themselves that it's a television.
Yeah.
And
They don't need to know it's 32 inch, you just need to know whether it's an appropriate size, and again, they can see that for themselves.
Yeah, so I then foolishly followed on into my YouTube channel saying, and we have a lifting and lowering television, and then I realised very recently I should just shut up. And in fact, I say on the videos now, if anybody's a regular viewer, although having met that couple, I don't think there are many regular viewers, but I now start to say, anyway, I'm going to shut up and let the images do the talking, and then we just show the lovely imagery of the yacht.
Makes a lot of sense. There's a chap who's a friend of mine called James Bark, and he runs boats.co.uk, and they're a Princess dealership. And we were talking once about the Princess S65, and he said it's a really good boat to sell because it's got everything. It's got the garage, it's got the flybridge, it's got the opening roof above the helm, it's got the side door at the helm, it's got 4 cabins.
Yeah.
He said, and he said, you know, whenever he goes on these boats, you know, everything that everybody wants is there. And he said they almost became so easy to sell that he was with one couple and they went on the boat, and he said, this boat's got everything you want. He said, I'm just going to sit here and let you go and look round it. And that was it. He didn't even walk into the boat with them.
Yeah.
And they went round it, and they came out 20 minutes later and went, you're right, that's got everything we want.
Yeah.
And he sold it to them.
Yeah.
He didn't even go into it.
But don't you prefer that as well? If you're shopping for a house, don't you just prefer to have a bit of time,
Absolutely.
look around?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Do you know, one of the things, I keep going back to this buying this house thing for some reason today, but one of the things that I found was when I was looking for houses, and admittedly this was during the sort of the COVID era and everything, the property market was going mad. But what I couldn't understand is you're buying the most expensive thing you've ever bought in your life, right? And they give you like about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to get any kind of feel for the place? And it's like, right, we need to move on now. Really? Yeah. You know, you wouldn't spend 15 minutes looking at a 20 grand car, let alone a £500,000 house.
No, that's
and
right.
yet that's how they do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there we are.
So let's take a look up at the Sky Lounge,
After you.
because this is a tri-deck yacht.
Excellent.
Oh, before we go to the Sky Lounge, worth taking a look at the Galley.
Absolutely.
And Ipek, who's the sales manager for the US, and a thoroughly lovely lady who loves what you do.
Bless her.
And
Easily
quite likes what I do. She showed me around earlier, and she said that actually the work surface area here, I think she said it's the same as their biggest model, the 37.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And it is a lot of work surface for a 30-metre yacht, so I made a nice job here.
Yeah.
What would you be looking at if you were doing an AQUAHOLIC tour?
Well, now what we'd have to be looking for is the dishwasher And the reason that we'd be looking for the dishwasher is because there are apparently people who, when they're watching my videos, when they see the boat right on the outside, they're watching it by maybe a couple. Weirdly, couples like to watch my videos, so she sort of thinks it's a bloke geeky thing, but apparently not. And I've been contacted by a couple of people who said that, and they said, well, the first thing we do is have a bet. We'll have a dishwasher. So I always now have to point out because we've got a dishwasher, because otherwise no one's going to win the bet.
So, also, you champion the pronunciation of Mila.
Mila, well, that was a funny thing in itself, because when I started referring to Mila, like a lot of people, I called it Mile, and everybody else started chiming in the comments saying, no, it's not Mile, it's Milois, no, it's not Milois, it's Milou, and all this sort of thing. Yeah. And the funniest thing of all was that I can't remember how I eventually worked out it is supposed to be Mila, rhymes with Sheila. Yeah. And in the comments was a comment from, I'm not sure if he was the owner or certainly somebody right at the top of Director or Mila, going, yes, you have pronounced it correctly.
Good.
Yeah, so that was quite funny.
Here, in fact, we have Siemens. I assume you can go up to the sun deck this way. Now again, what's your initial impression here?
Well, this is vast, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a flybridge, or an upper deck, I suppose we should call it, on a super yacht, from a class above, I would say.
Yeah. Would you have a hot tub on a yacht if you had a yacht?
I don't know. People who like them really, really like them.
Yeah.
I've never got that excited about them. I think, they're really good if you're a swinger.
If you're a swinger?
Because, you and your other couple can get in there. It's a nice social environment, and away you go. So it's an icebreaker, isn't it? But since I'm not, or at least I've never found anybody willing to swing with me.
I didn't expect you to come out with that. That was very good.
Question?
Yeah, it does. So the answer is yes. You would have one on your yacht, just in case it opens up a new activity for you.
It's either that or join the caravan club.
Yes, I would not have a hot tub, but if the yacht was big enough, I'd have a plunge pool.
Okay.
Because sometimes you don't really want to go into the sea, but you do want to cool down. It's nice to just sort of jump into a plunge pool, have a little splash about. Because actually, tell me if I'm right, I find when I'm on a yacht filming and I jump into the sea, it's quite a strenuous thing. You've got to swim around, you've got the tide, you've got the waves, then you've got to climb out again.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just want to cool down and then jump into a bit of water.
Yeah, quite often where these yachts are, what you don't particularly want in your life is more heat.
No, that's right.
So I can see very much that makes an awful lot of sense.
Yeah. But this, I think, is impressive for the beam, for the length of this. It's a really nice, impressive area. Let's take a quick look at the bridge before it gets full again. Do you have the license or the ability to drive something as big as this?
No, not even slightly.
Would you like to?
Do you know what? It would scare the crap out of me trying to put something like this and something like this. I mean, it must actually be really, really easy because Tristan does it. So, it must be the kind of thing that a child can do because he's only about 12. But
he does it with a GoPro strapped to his head, which I think is a skill all on its own.
It is. And maybe that's why it looks difficult, because all you actually see is I don't know. It's funny. The biggest boat I've driven is probably up about 65, 70 foot. When I was selling Princesses, we would sometimes drive those sorts of things. And the interesting thing about it I always used to find was the bigger the boat, actually, the easier it was once you got your head around the sheer size of it, because everything happens much slower, the boat's much heavier, it doesn't get blown around so much. And I'd imagine these are probably quite steady. You've got powerful bows, stern thrusters. And it's probably, I'm not going to say quite easy, that would be, vastly underselling it, but probably not as hard as I think it would be. But I think it's just the sheer size of the damn thing and the weight, and the fact that if it does go wrong, it goes properly wrong, because you've got so much mass. Occasionally, I hate them and I don't watch them, but occasionally you see these sort of super yacht crashes, blah, blah, blah. And when they do, they're usually doing about 3 miles an hour when they hit something, but then they don't stop. They just crumple because the sheer volume of weight carrying on and the way that they've got. I would say I'd have a go, but I'd want to have somebody competent stood by, ready to take over.
They were saying that one of the things that they wanted the captain to give feedback on was the visibility here.
Yeah.
And the captain actually said, this is fine, this is ample.
Yeah.
They don't have wing stations on this yacht, but they do have a position where they can wire them in if a client wants them to.
Can you imagine trying to drive this into here from here, though?
Yeah, they were telling me that there's a very sophisticated camera system on board.
You don't have the same feel, though, with a camera.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You can see that we're that close to that, whatever else, but you don't. It's not as instinctive as looking down and going, okay, we're 3 feet away.
Yeah, yeah. And also with the radios, they're like the guy on the back is going 5 meters, 4 meters, crash. But you know they have good.
It gets more and more high pitched as it goes 3 meters, 4 meters.
Slow down.
Yeah. But again, it's experience, isn't it? And I guess if you were kind of brought up around these systems, then probably to you it's as easy as when you park a car and you're looking in the mirrors, and people think, well, how can you look in the mirrors and park a car that way? But if that's what you're used to, then.
I actually just bought you'll be happy to hear a Mercedes, which they say is their most technologically advanced to date.
Yeah.
Which keeps going wrong, by the way. But I've now started to use the camera instead of as well as the mirrors. But I've started to trust it a little bit more now.
Have you got that surround view?
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
It's really
like
good.
A helicopter.
Yeah.
They've got it on boats now. Have you seen that? Garmin are doing it.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
It is. It's superb.
It's unreal, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, because it honestly looks like a helicopter view. It looks like there's a drone above the thing.
I last night I got back from dinner quite late and I needed to move my car into a safe place. And so like 1 o'clock in the morning, I drove my car from the road to put it into a car park.
Right.
Got it in the tightest spot using exactly that. It was absolutely amazing.
And that is impressive at 1 in the morning, because clearly you would have been steaming drunk at the time.
I was steaming drunk, but I'd had a nice time.
Yeah, understood.
And quick other, I hope we don't bore the viewers with, but I think they enjoyed the chat. So I'd rented once a BMW X5, I think it was, and my space in Monaco is quite small, and I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted, and I squeezed it back into the space, and then I realised I was too close to the wall to open the
that's annoying.
the back. So then I pulled it forward, opened the back, got my suitcase out, pressed the button to put I thought I'd pressed the button to put the boot back down, but I hadn't. Then I got in, and I'm watching the camera only.
Yeah.
And bang! I hit the tailgate against the wall on a rental car. Which, by the way, Slava will find this interesting. They never charged me for. We're going to go onto the bow.
Up to you.
Thank you. So, by the way, this is where your wing stations would go. That's
that makes sense.
So there's nothing in there, but that's where you would.
Yeah, you've got a decent view from here, haven't you?
What do you think of that?
I think that is vast. Do you know, I think I could get all of my honeys on there. And me.
Today you're on form, Nick. I've got to say, you're coming out with things I never thought I'd hear from you. I actually think we should finish our comments right there.
Yeah, okay.
Because also,
for all talk of my honeys, this is probably as close as I'm going to get to anybody, so I'll take it.
But isn't this amazing?
Yeah.
It's huge.
Wouldn't this be a great place to be when you're just breezing down the coast at about sort of 6 or 7 knots, cooling breeze coming over you, honeys around you?
Yeah. Honeys around you. I honestly think from this boat show, actually they've already sold, I think, 4 of these.
Wow.
And this is the debut appearance to the public.
That's impressive.
Of it. But I think after the show, it's going to be a massive success. Yeah. Absolutely massive success. There's so much wow factor. And as you said earlier, those people were real buyers. The people who recognised you and humiliated me, they were like real buyers.
God bless them.
Yeah. I think as well, as a final sort of word, I love the attitude of Numarine towards what we're doing.
Yeah. Oh, they are completely getting it, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's completely on board with it. And do you know what's interesting is the lady that we were speaking to, whose name I forget.
Ipek.
Thank you. She's quite a young lady, and I often find there's a couple of things, but one of the things I find is that the younger generation are so on board with this, and they're getting it, and they're understanding that it does actually work. What I think that there is still in the yacht industry generally an awful lot of old school, of people going, well, we turn up at a boat show and we have an advert in motorboat and yachting. What else do we need to do? That's it. But of course, in those instances, and I'm absolutely not decrying those because they both absolutely had their place, But anybody at a boat show and anybody buying Money About Yachting or any other magazine
Yeah.
is already a boat enthusiast, and they've probably already heard of, if you're a big name,
Yeah.
whoever you are, they probably already know you exist. What about showing yourself to people who don't know about your particular brand or don't know about boating in general?
Yeah.
You know, and to me, that's what YouTube does a really good job of reaching out to, because of the way it uses its algorithms to say, okay, all these people are looking at these yacht videos, and they're also looking at Ferrari videos and watch videos and private jet videos, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some people looking at private jets and watches and Ferrari videos. Let's show them boats, because they're obviously in the same Venn diagram, the same overlap.
Yep.
And I so many times I've had people saying, I have no idea why your channel got recommended to me, and I had no idea I had interest in boats, but actually I do.
Yeah.
And even to the point of, and when we've just bought our first boat after watching AQUAHOLIC for a year, or your channel or whatever else. So, and I very much bow to your experience in the super yachts, because you're right up there, and I'm not. It's just a simple fact. And I'd go on them and I go, wow, but I don't really have.
Yeah.
If somebody said to me, rank the best out of the mid-range, the ones I'm talking about, I could do it in a heartbeat, but I couldn't tell you what's better, a Lewis or a Fedship. I wouldn't have a clue.
Sure. Interesting. Well, I'll do my best to set something up for Monaco's show.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to see it.
And then we'll publish that at Monaco.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Nick.
It's a pleasure.
It's been really good fun, as always.
Yeah.
I think last year we said we should do this more often, but another year has passed.
Of course. Yeah, we don't actually end up in the same place at the same time that often, do we? But Cannes is always one of them.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks again.
Pleasure.
Thanks for watching.